Hello everyone. So welcome to this HTML CSS and JavaScript course. So as we promised to you all of you guys that in our full stack developer roadmap that we'll be following the same roadmap uh, to be a web developer. So here we are guys. So in this course I will teach you from the very basic. Do not worry if you know nothing. Even if you know something, I will be telling you from the very basic. And since I will be discussing HTML, CSS and JavaScript in very depth guys, that is the reason why this session will be very long, and I will be streaming this session in every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so I can cover all the topics and you will be able to learn the basics, that is the HTML, CSS and JavaScript guys. The first thing which you will need in this session is a code editor guys. Do not worry if you don't know about the code editor. Let me show you how you can download the Visual Studio Code. So I would recommend you the Visual Studio Code. So it is one of the most famous code editor and everybody is like using it now. So to download the Visual Studio guys, all you need to do is you need to go to the Google. On the Google you need to just type download Visual Studio Code. So you will be seeing the first link guys, so select the first link, or you can directly visit this website, that is codevisualstudio.com download. Now here on their website guys, you will find different versions of operating system. So you might be having different versions of operating system like Mac OS, Ubuntu and Windows. Since I'm using Windows, I will be downloading the Windows version. After the downloading guys, you will see a documentation here, so do not worry, you don't have to dig deep into the documentation. All you need to do is download the Visual Studio Code. After downloading the guys, you need to install it, run the application, accept their agreement, select all of this stuff and go next, and you need to install it. Since I have already installed this Visual Studio Code, I will not be installing it, but you can install the Visual Studio Code, and I would highly recommend you to use Visual Studio Code guys, because it is one of the most famous code editor, and for beginners it is like a heaven. So if you are watching this stream, I would recommend you to download the Visual Studio Code. Meanwhile your download happens, I will teach you other stuff guys. So I'm assuming that you have started the download, or you will start the download here. The second thing which I want you from all of you guys is to keep a notes. Use pen and paper and mark some important points which I will be teaching you. Simply the reason why, because I don't want you to watch the video again and again from the starting and the beginning. You just mark some key points so that you will remember those points, and you will watch the video from where you think that you believe that yes, this part of the video will solve my problem. So that is the reason I want you to use pen and paper. And the third thing I want from all of you guys is to join our social platforms, because after the stream many of you will have doubts, many of you will be needing the notes, and for the future references, for the future events, you want to get the notification. And social media is the only platform where we can suggest you and share you about the event. So the third thing which I want is to join our social platforms. If you have, that's good. If you haven't, join now guys. Learning the HTML, CSS and JavaScript, we firstly need to understand and learn the fundamentals of the web development. And yes, you need to understand it, because it is the web development which you're gonna learn, and you're gonna use HTML, CSS and JavaScript on it. Do not worry guys, it's gonna be a long journey. Sit tight, freshen up your mind. I will be teaching you how to make awesome website, how to make a responsive website which will be responsive to your mobile size, television size, monitor size, laptop size, any devices. So let's start the session guys. So what you will learn in this session. So in today's session, I will be teaching you the basics of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. What are those, how they will work. I will teach you the major key concepts, that what generally the specific terms are, what URL are, what HTTP is, what is a DOM, a document object model. I will also be teaching you how a website works. Yes, how a website works. And this is something which most of the developers doesn't teach you, that how to inspect the network traffic and how to see others web pages code. Yes, you can inspect the other web pages code, like you can see the code of Facebook, you can see the code of Google and all, and I will be telling you all this in depth, guys. So I think I've already told you what I will be teaching you in today's session. So let's start the session, guys. So we need to firstly understand is what is HTML, CSS and JavaScript is. So for this I will be teaching you through an example, guys. So as you can see right now, I have opened a Twitter page in front of you guys. So in a Twitter page you will be seeing a lot of stuff here. You will be seeing this text here, you will be seeing an image here, you are seeing a button here, you are seeing different icons here, guys. You are seeing different icons here. So all this stuff is made up of HTML. All this stuff is made up of HTML. This search bar, this section, these images, all these stuffs are HTML. Now what is CSS? So in CSS what we do, we provide styling to it. So if you look at this button, the blue color, this blue color is a style which we have applied to button. If you look at this image is in a circular shape. We have provided that in a circular shape. If you look at this image, it is on a rectangular shape. We have provided the CSS to it. All the styling which you are looking at it, whether it is a font, a image, a button color, a formatted text, that is just because of your CSS, guys. And that is the reason why these two components are very important. No matter which framework you learn, whether it is Angular, whether it is React, if you don't know these two components, you will never be able to learn them. So that is the reason why I'm telling you from the very basic. Whatever the contents you are seeing here, the text, the section, different section, that is all made up of your HTML. And whatever the styling which we have provided, the colors, the circular shape, these different sections, the font, all this is of CSS. Now what is JavaScript, guys? So JavaScript kind of work as a scripting language here. So if you are familiar with Twitter, guys, when you click on this like button, the count on this like button increases. Like it is 6, if I click on this, it will become 7. So how does it happen? It happens because of your JavaScript, because it is a scripting language, and it provides us a programming feature here, and that is something very cool. And trust me, guys, if you just know HTML, CSS and JavaScript and you don't know any framework, you will be able to make a website, because these three things are just enough for you to make a website. And that is the reason why they are the very basic of the web development. I hope you all have understood what is the difference between the HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So if any one of you has any doubt here, I would highly recommend you to ask your doubt on the comment section. So now we will understand how does a web work. Yes, so now you know that what is HTML, what is CSS and what is JavaScript, but how do they work? So I will be telling you how generally they works. In a web development, guys, a URL is one of the most important thing. Generally URL means uniform resource location. So uniform resource location is a very fancy term, and it is a techie term, and if you will explain it to somebody, they will definitely get confused, because uniform resource location doesn't make sense to a beginner. So if you look at this term uniform resource location, let's start with the resources. Here the resources could be anything. Resource could be your web page, an image, an audio, a video, a fonts or other. For example, if you're watching a TV, then your television will be your resource. Similarly, if you're on the web, then on your web pages, images, video, audio, fonts, all this will be your resource, guys. Now we have understood what is resource, but what is uniform resource location? So uniform resource location is generally a address of a file which we want to see, guys. So let's actually understand with the help of a good example I will be showing you. So here, so for understanding URL, you need to understand what is a client and what is a server. If you're searching anything on your browser, then you are a client. In your browser, you are a client. You will be recognized as a client. So what generally happen when you search facebook.com, you actually make a request to a server that we want the Facebook page. Take us to the Facebook page. And what generally happen in response, this server provides us some response. And here we get that a web element where we see the Facebook contents, guys. So that is the simple client server model. So what generally happen, a request is sent to the server, and then server checks that yes, a request has come for viewing the Facebook, Twitter or Google page. It immediately sends us the response. Now, how do client and server communicate? How generally they do communicate? It is because of this HTTP, guys. Yes, so this is the next component. So when you come to the HTTP, guys, an HTTP is generally referred as a hypertext transfer protocol. So it is also a very fancy term, guys. So I will break it down. So it is actually a language for a client and server to communicate. So as I was telling you guys, that how client and server communicate. So they generally do not communicate like in an English language, in a Hindi language or in any other language. They generally communicate using this protocol HTTP. So what generally happens, whenever you search anything on the URL automatically understands that this is a hypertext protocol. So let's see through an example. Let's go to Twitch. Yeah, so I am now on the Twitch TV, guys. So as you can see, I just only typed Twitch TV .tv/pd/prasanna, and as you can see, it automatically applied the HTTPS protocol here, guys. It is very simple. So what generally HTTP is, it is a language for a client and a server to communicate. Now when we come to the web world, guys, there are actually two protocols. One is HTTP and other is HTTPS, as you can see here, HTTP and HTTPS. So what generally this HTTP and HTTPS are, let's understand with the help of the example. So what generally happen when you use HTTP protocol, whatever the request you send to your server, they are not encrypted. They are not encrypted. Encrypted in the sense any hacker can use that data and can see what you are searching, what you are doing with it. So whenever you surf Google, whenever you go through website, if you see HTTP based website, you should be careful there, because your data will not be secure there, and there is a high possibility that your data might get stolen. But if you are using a HTTPS, guys, so it is a secure HTTP protocol. Here all of your messages will be encrypted. And even if hacker managed to get this data, he will not be able to decrypt it because it will be encrypted, guys. So whatever the websites you visit now, if whether it is a Facebook, whether it is a Google, all of these websites use HTTPS protocol, guys, and that is something which you should keep in mind and you should note down on your diary, because whenever in future you will be making website, you make sure that you use HTTPS protocol websites, guys. Now, so right now I have told you through the manual example, guys. So let's understand this with the help of the developer tools, which I believe nobody tells you. So let me tell you with the help of the example how the client makes the request to the server and how we get the response. So suppose I'm making a request to Google. Let's go to the Google homepage. So right now I'm on the Google page here, guys. So what I want you to do here, guys, is when you're on the Google page, you right click here, and on clicking on the right click you will see inspect here. So inspect, or you can also use the shortcut that is Ctrl+Shift+I. If you found this, you click on it and immediately your developer tools will appear here. And as you can see here, all this code is a HTML code, guys. All this code is HTML code. So if you scroll through this section, it is a certain section, it is a nav bar. You can also inspect this image and as you can see, this is the image link. And so as you can see, with the help of the developer tools, you can also see the code of the Google here. And the best part is, now let's go through the client server model. So what generally happen, you have to go to the network tab here. So yeah, there are different tabs: elements, console, sources. I want you to go to the network tab here, and then you clear, there is a clear button here, clear button here. Click on that, and what you do is you refresh the page. So as you can see, when you refresh the page, 37 requests were made to the server, and that is the live example of the client server model, guys. So when you search through your URL, a request is made to the server, and server accepted your request and it brought you the response. And the best part of the developer tools, guys, you can also see the response. So as you can see, on the response section, you will visit different sections. So as you can see, it is their JavaScript code here, and this is also a JavaScript code here. This might be an image, color, images. If you go to the preview section, you will find this image. This, as you can see, this is a Google logo which the server is bringing here, guys. So this is how web works. Generally, what happens whenever you make any request through your URL, it is sent to the server, and the server brings back your response. That's how web works. This is generally a simple concept, guys. If any one of you has any doubt, I would highly recommend you to comment on the comment section. I will clear that doubt, guys. It is our time to learn the HTML, guys. So what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Now this is also a very fancy term, guys. Most of the people generally get confused that what is a markup language. So let's understand this. What is HTML? So when you communicate through your computer, guys, your computer doesn't understand your language. If you're telling your computer to play some song, it will not understand that English language or any other language. Computer only understand three kinds of language. That is your markup language, programming language, and scripting language. So programming language is a language which has a compiler. So what is actually a compiler? So when you create any program, when you execute it, and if there is any error, your program will not run. It will give you an error message that there is an error in this line. It will not run. The best part of the markup language is, guys, that markup language doesn't have a compiler. So even if you have wrote a wrong code, it will not give you an error. It will display the output, guys. So a markup language is actually a language for computer to tell us what to display here, what to display. So let me show you again. So as you can see, this all are tags, this all are HTML tags, and what generally they are telling our computer is to show all the content, to show the image here. As you can see, there is an image URL, show the image here, show the search bar here, show the button here. All this is happening through your markup language, and your computer is understanding it through a markup language. Same is the thing with the programming language, but programming language generally has a compiler. So if you have made some mistake there, it will throw you an error. The third thing is a scripting language, guys. So scripting language is a language for a browser here. This is a very broad topic, and I will be teaching you when we will learn the JavaScript, guys. So right now I believe you know what is the difference between these three language and how computers used to communicate through this three language, guys. So let me move to the next topic, guys. That is how to learn the HTML, guys. So for this, I want you to do is go to your desktop. I hope you all have installed code editor, that is this Visual Studio Code. So if you have done, good job. If you haven't done, do not worry, you can do it on your free time. Right now you just focus on what I'm teaching you, guys. So what I want you to do is go to your desktop, and here go to your new section, create a new folder, and name this folder as HTML. Once you have done this, so what you have to do is, once you have installed the Visual Studio Code, just open it. So once your Visual Studio Code is open, what I want you to do is go to that path where you have created your HTML file. So what you need to do is go to the file section here. Under the file section, you will be seeing a open folder option here. So let me zoom it a little bit. Yeah, better. Yeah, you have to go to the open folder. Once you are on the open folder, all you need to do is scroll through your desktop. Since I have created my HTML folder on my desktop, I will be selecting it. And here, so I'm right now on my HTML folder, guys. So here is my HTML folder. So the first thing which we need to do here is we need to create a new file. For creating a new file, what you have to do is you have to go again to the file section here, go to the new file here. So here we have created a new file. Now what I will do is I will save it as a index.html. index.html. So guys, make sure you save this file as index.html. The reason why you should save this as a index.html, guys, is because when you search anything through URL like www.youtube.com or www.google.com, the first page which you get is index.html. Yes, so the same thing you have to do here is whenever you search through your website, the first page which will appear on the screen on the browser will be index.html, guys. So whenever you create a folder, you firstly make sure that you create the index.html file, guys. Now here is the most important part which I want you to learn, guys. So focus on it, just focus on it. So right now we'll be learning the HTML. So the basic structure of HTML starts with this doc type HTML. So what generally this refers, this doc type HTML, what generally this tells us? So it tells us that we are using the HTML version 5, guys. So you know HTML also have been evolving around the years. So before this HTML we had HTML4 and different versions of the HTML, and therefore defining the version of the HTML there, we needed to write a long code there for defining just that this is this HTML version. But in the HTML version 5, guys, you don't have to type anything. All you have to do is just simply write !doc type, and this code generally tells us that this is a HTML version 5 which we are using. You can also avoid writing the doc type HTML5 because most of the browser these days only supports HTML5 version. All the previous versions have been deprecated. So whenever you create any project, you just make sure you define the version of the HTML on the top. Once you have done this, I want you to write is HTML code. So this tag, this HTML tag, it generally tells computers that whatever the code we will write under this section, you have to display it on the browser. Yes, you have to display it on the browser, and this is the reason why we define this tag, this HTML. Make sure whenever you define this tag, you have the opening tag and the closing tag, guys. So this is your opening tag, and the tag with the /, this is your closing tag, guys. So I'm gonna tell you again, the first line which I have wrote here, the !doc type HTML, it tells the browser that we are using the HTML version 5, and the next tab, that is the HTML tag, it tells us whatever the code we will write inside it, you have to render it, you have to show it in the browser, guys. Once you have written this code, guys, the next tag which comes inside the HTML, that is your head tag. So we have to write head tag. So what generally this tag tells us? This tag generally tells us the information about this HTML code. So let's understand what information. So as you are on the www.google.com, on the top of it you can see there is a Google written here, Google. So what generally this is telling us? So it is telling us that we are using Google services, we are on the Google page. So this is the information this page is giving us. Same thing we have to do here, guys. Whatever the information which you want to tell to your users that you are on our website you are using this services, you can simply define it on the head tag. And how you will define it? Here you will use a title tag, guys. So on the title tag, guys, you will define what is the information. So I will simply write is our first project. So this is the information which we are telling to our users, that we are creating our first project, and you can interact with it. So this is the head section, guys. So always remember, head section always tells the information about your website or any page. The next section is the body section. Now this is the one of the most important section which you will be dealing with. Oh, sorry, my bad. Body section. This is the section where we will be making or creating, images, paragraphs, fonts, and whatever the details which we want to show in the website, we keep it inside the body tag, guys. So let's just save it and let's see what information this index.html gives us. So what I will be doing is I will go to my desktop, and on my desktop I will go into the HTML. So as soon as you reach there, as you can see, index.html, our browser automatically understood that this is a HTML file and we need to show it. If you are not getting this browser version, what you can do is you can right click on it here, and there is a open with option, and when you go here you can simply select the Google Chrome or whatever the browser you feel like you should open it. I will be opening it on the Google Chrome. So as you can see, guys, we are seeing the information on the top, our first project. So this is simply telling us that it is simply telling us the information about our HTML file. And now when you inspect it, let's inspect our code. And as you can see, there is nothing in the body, but in the head section we can see title our first project. So that's how you can inspect others pages HTML code and create something creative out of it, guys. So that's how you define. This is the basic structure of HTML. Whenever you start the HTML, you make sure that you define the version of the HTML. Then whatever the code which you want to show on your browser, you make sure you define it on the HTML code. Whatever the information you want to show, you put it on the head. And now for the body, let's go to the next section. So in HTML there are different resources, guys. You can create paragraphs, you can create headings, you can create images, you can show video, you can also show the audio, guys. So we'll be dealing with all of this step by step. So let's start with the heading, guys. So heading tag. So heading tag generally starts with the h1 tag, h2 tag, h3 tag, h4 tag. So these are generally the different version of these tags, guys. So it generally allows you to add heading in your web page. So let's actually add the edit heading. So firstly, I want to add heading on my page. So there are different versions of heading. Okay, so when I create a h1, when I use the h1 heading, let's see what generally happens. So on the first heading I will write is my name is PD. Okay, let's save it, and I'm gonna go to my website here, and I'm gonna simply refresh the page. Let's see what happens. So as you can see, guys, a large text appear here as a heading, and it is telling us my name is PD. So this h1 tag, we generally use it for heading purposes, but as I was showing you on the PPT here, that there are different tags, h2, h3, h4. So what generally these are, let's also go through it. So these are actually nothing, guys. So they differ in sizes, in their boldness. That's the only thing. So let's actually show them in action. So this will be my h2 section. My name is RG. Let's also write the h3 tag, that is my name is AS, and h4 tag, my name is AD. So I have used all the tags here, guys. So let's see what happens. What I will do is, firstly I will make sure I save it. For saving it, you can save it like from here, or you can simply use the shortcut. I will be using the shortcut here, that is Control S. Once you save it, you go through the website again and refresh the page. So that is the thing, guys. That's how they work. They differ in sizes. So this is your H1 tag. This is very large and bold. This is H2 tag, little large and bold but less than this, and the same thing with these three, guys. So that is the these tags works. So generally we use H1, H2, H3, H4 tags for headings. So when you will be making websites, guys, you will be interacting with a lot of requirements. Sometimes you might think that you should have a little less size heading, then you will use H4. Sometimes you want a very big heading, then you will use H1, guys. So it totally depends upon your requirements. So that is our first tag, guys. That is the first tag we learned today, the headings. Remember that. Now so we humans have certain rules. We humans have adjusted to certain features. So like when we write the application, we make sure that we start with the to and we end with some fancy looking word like thanking you, and same thing. So same is the thing with the formatting. We firstly define the heading of some title and then we start it with the paragraph. The same thing is here on the HTML, guys. Our second tag is paragraph tag. Yes, second tag is paragraph tag, and this is one of the simplest tags, guys. All you need to do is use simple P. What I will do is P, and here I can define the whole tag. So what I will do is I will just take simply let's go to news, or let's just copy this stuff. I will just simply copy this and I will just put it here, and this will be all be my paragraph, guys. This all will be my paragraph. I will make sure I will save it, and I will go again. I will refresh the page, and as you can see how beautiful our paragraph is looking. You will definitely not use the paragraph inside the heading tag, otherwise it will completely look ugly, guys, and that's something which you don't want on your website, guys. So you make sure whenever you have a long text, long description tag, you always use a paragraph tag. But if you have something important, something highlighting which you want to show to your users, you make sure you use heading tags. So that's it, guys. You just now learned the two tags, and you can just simply create an HTML file. So let's move to our next section of tags. So this I call it as a HTML formatting elements. So sometimes in our text we want something different. If you are familiar with the concept of subscript, superscript, sometimes you want to like underline the text, sometimes you want a line in the tag. So these are the tags which we use on the HTML, guys. So like right now I just simply define the paragraph tag here. Now my requirement is that Google News is a news aggregator service developed by Google. After this, I do not want my text to start from here. After this, I want my text to start from here. So what I will do here, guys, I will just simply add a line break here. So for adding a line break here, we use the BR tag, guys. So what I will do is here I will press enter, and here I will use the tag, and that is BR tag. Now remember this, guys, all the elements in the HTML, they have a starting tag and ending tag, but there are some tags which don't have a starting tag and ending tag, and this is one of those tags, guys. This doesn't have a starting tag and the ending tag. So I will just simply add a line break here. All I will do is save, and let's see whether it works or not. There we go. Our requirement is fulfilled. So that is a line break tag, guys. The second tag is a bold tag. Right now I want my users to focus on certain terms which has been explained in this paragraph. So like I want this services to be highlighted here. So what I will do, I will definitely not use this heading tag here to simply highlight this term. So for this tag, guys, we simply use a B tag, or a strong tag. So these tags generally makes the text bold. So let's also play them in action. So as I wanted to make my service bold, what I will do is I will simply use b tag. I will put my service inside it and I will save it, and let's see something happens or not. Whoa, as you can see how beautiful it is looking. You will definitely not use heading tag here, because if you use the heading tag, this will become this large as this much, and that's something we do not want in our HTML, guys. So that is the reason why we use b tag, or also you can use the strong tag. So let's also take it into action. Strong tag. There we go. Let's refresh the page. Same thing. So you can use both of the tags, whatever you feel like you might using. The second tag is italic tags. Now we want to show something fancy in our text. Like this is like too formal here. We want to make it some stylish stuff here. So let's make our news provide some styling to it, like some formatting styling. So what I will simply do is I will use a italic text here. So if you are familiar with the italic text, you might be knowing what it generally do, but if you don't, let's see what generally it does here. I will use I tag here. I will use it and save it, and let's see. As you can see, now it is not in a formal way. It has been rotated a little to the right, and this is a fancy term. This is what we call italic in English terms, guys. So this also you can do with the help of the HTML. For this you need to use I tag. For this you need to use b tag or strong tag. For breaking the line you need to use br tag. Remember that tag doesn't have a closing tag. Okay. Let's move to the next term, that is the mark tags. Now I want to highlight some of the versions, like I want to highlight Google here. I want that its background should be yellow. Like right now its background is blue, but it is not by default. I am making it by default. Let's highlight it, guys. So let's do it. So for here I will use a mark tag. So what I will do is simply, let me scroll through here, mark tag here, and I will paste it and I will save it, and let's see. Oh, my night light is on. I need to off it. Yeah, I'm gonna refresh it, and as you can see, this Google tag is been marked, and this is something which sometimes you might be using it. So this we generally use when we prepare for exams. We generally mark some terms, right? So sometimes you might be needing it for this term. Okay, so now we will move to the next term, that is small tags. So this is something usual in HTML. So right now you want to decrease the size of this font here. All you need to do is to use small tag. So let's make it small. I will simply use small tag here, and I'm gonna paste it. So I'm gonna save it, and I'm gonna refresh the page. As you can see, the font size has been decreased. So this is some of the HTML formatting tags, we call it, because they generally use on formatting the text here. So the next tag is deleted text. Now I want to cut down some lines here. So for that also we have the tags here. Sorry for that. I'm going to use the del tag here. Let's see. I'm going to paste it, and let's see what generally do. I'm going to refresh, and as you can see, a line came here. So this is also something which you will be needing when you create an HTML stuff. The next is insert tag, and let's see what generally insert tag do. So I'm going to use it on present ins, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to refresh the page. There you go, an underline came inside the present tag. Okay, now the last two tags are subscript and superscript. So if you are familiar with the maths, you might have seen some like 2 to power 2 is 4, 2 to power 8 is something, you know. So that power is your superscript, guys. So for that you can also do is like, I want this LOW to be in superscript. So I will do it is sub, and I'm gonna paste it here, and sorry, my bad, I'm gonna save this, and I'm gonna simply refresh the page here. And as you can see, the LOW goes to the power of F. You can also use it for like creating a table here, 2 to power 2, and you can show it some fancy way here, guys. Same is with the subscript. In subscript, what will happen, this LOW will scroll down here, and that is something which I want you to try, guys. So I will not be telling you, I want you, all of you guys, to try it. So with this, I will be moving to the next section. So this was the HTML formatting elements, guys. So generally these tags are generally used to format tags here. So I will be revising again. So whenever you need heading, you generally use h1 tag. If you want some little size heading, you will use different versions of h tag. Now whenever you want to write paragraph, you will use p tag. In there, if you want to break the line, if you want that your line text should come after this line, you will use a br tag. And then there are different HTML formatting tags which you will use according to your requirements, guys. So with this, I will be moving to the next section, and that is something very exciting which you will learn, and that is how to create a list. So this is something very beautiful on HTML. Yes, you can create a list in HTML, and many of you would have observed it also in HTML. So list can also be of different types: unordered list and ordered list, and also a description list. So unordered lists are something where the numbers are not there. They can be in any order, and ordered lists are something where there are where there is a defined numbers, that first, then second, then third, then fourth. And description lists are something where the list is defined by description. So this is something might confusing, so let's code it through action, guys. So for creating the list, guys, it is also very easy. So right now what I will do, I will simply remove this line of code here. So let's create a list here. So I'm gonna give a paragraph here, or let's give it a heading. Heading will be good. What do you say? H3 will be good. Firstly, we will create unordered list. Unordered list, and inside unordered list we will create the list. So for creating the unordered list, guys, you have to define UL. UL should be your first tag. So we will do the same thing. UL mean it clearly saying that UL, unordered list, and there you go. And inside, whenever you want to create list, you use li tag here. So we will do li tag here. So firstly I will do is Ram. I will define his age is like 23, and I will define his Twitter or something, whatever you want here. And you can create any number of lists, guys, here. His notes, something, whatever you want. You just save it, you just make sure you save it, and let's refresh our page here. And you can see here our unordered list is there, and you can see, guys, how beautiful it is. Our heading is clearly defining that there is an unordered list, and there it is a list. And as you can see, it is unordered. There is no number here. It is a bullet point here simply. Now let's create ordered list. So for unordered list, we use UL tag. U means unordered list, and so for ordered list we will definitely use OL tag. So let's also give it a heading like ordered list, and here for ordered list we will use OL tag, and for creating the list we simply use li tag. So here we are. So here, like, let's define some food items like pizza, pasta. Let's define coffee. Let's save it and check, and there you go. There is our ordered list, and as you can see, guys, that it has been ordered. The first is pizza, the second is pasta, the third is coffee. So that is the difference between unordered list and ordered list. And yes, you can use it on your HTML. There should be something interesting should go on your mind, that what what should I do with this, where should I use this. And if you're doing it, you're a really creative guy. So let's move to the descriptive lists. So descriptive list is something which is not very famous, but it is actually usable. So for syntax for description list is simply dt and dd. So descriptive list should be, so like for unordered list we use ul, for ordered list we use ol. So for descriptive list we will use dl. So let's give it a title here, description list here, and dl here, my bad, sorry, here. And here we will not use li, guys, because if we use li it will come in the list format. Here we want something here, so here we firstly define title and define heading. So we will use like dt here. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. Yes, dt and title and description. So description title, let's say Italy, and let's give it a description, I love Juventus. Now I want to make a second description, same thing, dt Spain, let's give it a description, dd I love Madrid. And let's save it and check how does the description list work. We're gonna refresh it, and there you go. So as you can see, this is the title and this is the description. So this is your description list, guys. So these are the 3 forms of list, and they are super easy to use. You can create it, you can use it on a menu web page or any web page where you feel like you should add it, guys. So this was your list. So the next item on our HTML bucket is tables. Yes, tables. So if you have interacted with the Excel sheets, so there you majorly see the tables, guys, and we can also create them in the HTML, guys. And yes, it is super easy. So for creating the tables, guys, let's go through it. So I will be removing this so we can create the table. So I'm gonna give a fancy title here, like our tables, and let's go through it. So for creating the table tag, guys, for creating the tables, guys, you always have to use table tag. So for creating the table tag, you define it using table tag. So I will be using table, and I'm going to close it. So as you can see, there is a starting tag and there is an ending tag, and inside this we define rows. So let me scroll through you what are rows and what are column. So I'm gonna go to the sheets, my bad, sorry, Google Sheets, go to Google Sheets. Let's create a blank sheet. So here, guys, so this 1 2 3, so this specific area, guys, this specific area, if you go like horizontally here, so this is, sorry, vertically here, this is your row, and if you go down this is your column, guys. The same thing here applies here. You have to define a row here, and how you will define the row here is tr table row. That means you have to go row wise like this. Okay, so when you are here, guys, you defined it, and now here you can also create headings, like something fancy here. You don't have to, but you can also create it. So let's create some heading like th, and here I will be defining, like, let's play name. The second heading I will be using is, let's go for h. So this is our heading. Now what will heading do here is, here the a, the b, the c, this thing which you are seeing, it will act as a heading here in table. Now the second, so this will be in our first row. So as you can see, it is a row of its own ABCD. So this will also be a row of our table's own, and the name and age will be heading there. So we will create the next row here is using tr tag, and this time we will provide description to it, that is TD. So I will be using let's go for something fancy like Ozil, and I'm going to provide its age TD like 23, and let's see how our table works. I'm going to save it. I'm going to simply refresh the page and let's see. And as you can see, something fancy on the heading, a bold text that is name and Ozil, and there is a description on Ozil and 23. And the same thing you can do it again and again. Let's add another row here, so your concept get clear. That is tr, and I'm also gonna provide the description here. Let's see Ronaldo, and I'm gonna provide the TD tag, and I think it is 37. I'm gonna refresh the page, and there you go. There is your table, guys. So this was your table. So by this point now you know how to create headings, how to create paragraphs, how to structure the paragraphs, how you can create a list, how you can create different types of lists, that is unordered list, ordered list, and a description list. And now you know how to create table. That's amazing, guys. Good progress. Let's move to the next section, and that is something quite amazing. Now we will be using anchor tag. So let's understand what this tag does. So what generally it do is, I will be searching through Facebook here. So it takes us to the Facebook page. So when we click on this text, it takes us to some page, guys. When we click on it, it will takes us to the some page. So like if I click on log, it takes us to the Facebook page. What if we want the same functionality in our page? Can we do it? Can we do it? Yes, we can do it. And that is the reason why we use the anchor tag, guys. So let's use the anchor tag. So for anchor tag, we need to go to some other page. So let's create another page, and here I will be using, let's create it as a about.html. I'm gonna save it, and the same thing I'm gonna use again. I'm gonna firstly define that it is a HTML version 5. So what I will do is doc type, and the best thing about Visual Studio, guys, it automatically suggests you what you are about to write. So all you need to do is simply enter, and it will create it for you. So that is the reason I was encouraging you to use the Visual Studio, guys. So let's move it to the next section. I will be defining that we have HTML code which you need to display, and here I'm going to define the head section. In the head section, I will be defining the information for this file, and I'm going to say this is our, sorry for that, this is our about us page. There you go. And then we're going to define the body for it. There you go. And in the body section, we will define the HTML code. So right now let's define it some fancy term, like in H1 we are, sorry for that, we are in about.html. So as you can see, I've written we are in about.html. I'm going to save it, and here I'm going to provide a tag. So this is our first page. So here I'm going to remove it, and here I'm going to also write like h2 we are in index.html. So now I want to go from index.html to about.html. How we will go, guys? How we will go? We'll simply use the anchor tag here, guys. So the anchor tag starts something like this, ahref, and you will define the link which you want to go and a closing tag. So let's go through it. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to define the anchor tag here, and I'm going to close it. Now anchor tag has something different from other tags, guys. Now this tag has a attribute, yes, and this attribute, in this attribute we tell the HTML that in which page we want to go, and that we will define like href. So it is a reference, that in which reference we want to go. So right now I want to go from index.html to about.html. So how we will do? We'll simply define about.html, because they both these both files are in the same folder, so I will simply use like about.html. okay. Now so this is the reference, and I'm gonna define some text here like I want to go to about us. Now let's save it and check what output it gives us. There you go. This a fancy blue button which is indicating that we should click here. So what will happen if we click here? Right now we are in index.html. Let's see. Whoa, we are in about.html. So that's how we redirect users from one page to another page. If I go back, there we are again. So that's how you will redirect users from one page to another page, and for this we use anchor tag, guys. So the next tag is your image tag, guys. So for image tag, let's download some image, guys. So let's go to Google Images, and I'm a big fan of DBZ, Dragon Ball Z. Let's download some images. Something good. This looks good. Let's download it. So how you can download the image is simply you can click on save images, just download it. So I'm gonna will be keeping this folder on the same folder. It was on my desktop HTML. So right now I will create a folder here, so I can differentiate between my files and the images. So I will create a new folder. Let's call it image. Okay, there you define the image, and inside the image let's give it some easy name like DBZ. Sorry, my bad. DBZ. And I'm gonna simply save it, and the browser saved it. So let's go to the Visual Studio, and as you can see we have an image folder here, and there is a dbz.jpg. as you can see the image here. Now what I want to load this image, what I will do when I want to load this image on my browser, we can simply do it, guys. All we have to do is we have to use image tag. So let's give it a description, image tag, and how we will define is we use img, and this is also one of the tags, guys, which doesn't have a closing tag, so we will simply use it like this. And for anchor tag, what we used, for anchor tag we use href to define the reference that which page we want to go. Similarly, in image tag we will use a source tag, src, that which source we want to load. And the same thing we will do here is I want to load dbz.jpg, but right now this is not in our same folder, it is on inside the image folder. So how we will go inside the image folder is we will define the current path, that our current path is this HTML. So how we will define it? By using /. So when you use the /, as you can see, Visual Studio is automatically suggesting that you are inside an HTML folder. Now from here, where you want to go? So from here I want to go inside a image folder. Inside the image folder I want to load this dbz.jpg, and you can simply select it, and all you have to do is save it, and let's see what happens, if magic happens in our HTML page or what. Yeah, as you can see our image is loaded, as you can see here, and that is cool, guys. Now sometimes what happens is sometimes your images doesn't load. So like by mistake if I gave a wrong source here, there is no source here. Now what I want, that my user experience should be good. So if my image for some reason if doesn't load, it should give some message that there is some problem. So for that we can define an alternative for it. So for this there is also an attribute in image tag, we use alt. So if we define something inside it, if your image is not loaded, then this message will come that there is a error. So let's see if it comes into action or not. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see that message come that for some reasons that image doesn't load and that there is an error. So this generally happens in the website most of the time, so you make sure you always define the alternative tag here. And I'm gonna revert the change, I'm gonna pick the image, and the best thing thing about image is there is also an option for height or width. You can define the height of the image, like I will define it 240 pixels, and width, give it the same pixels. So right now, okay, I have to save it. I will save it. I'm gonna refresh the page, and as you can see, my image got shrunk and his height got reduced. So it is not looking good, but you can adjust the image according to yourself, guys. So I will remove the height and width simply here, save it, and I'm gonna reload the page, and there you are. Your image is loaded here. That is the best thing about the HTML, guys. So similar to the image, guys, you can also load an audio. Yes, you can also play an audio on your HTML. So let's go through the code of that. So for audio tag, it is very simple. All you have to do is you have to use audio tag. And for audio tag, we generally provide the controls. So you can increase the volume of the audio, you can decrease the volume of the audio, you can go to the specific part of the audio, something like that. So here we simply write controls like this, and inside this audio tag, guys, we define certain keywords. Now image could be of different types, similarly audio could also be a different type. Sometimes it could be of mp3 type, sometimes it could be of ogg type. Now it completely depends upon your browser, guys. Sometimes your browser supports mp3, sometimes your browser doesn't support mp3. So you make sure that which source or origin or which type of music you're playing, you always define your music here. So I will be using like type audio/mpeg, then you will be defining audio/mpeg. If your audio type is like OGG, you will be defined like OGG. And similarly, you will define the source here with the source attribute. So do not worry, I will be sharing all the PPT in our social media platforms on the Telegram, so you will get the code here. And let's actually try it in action. So this is actually a source of audio. So let's see what happens if we directly go to this link. Let's see. Oh, as you can see, an audio got played. So this is a direct source to the audio, guys. We can simply use this link to create an audio. So all we have to do is provide source, and inside the src we have to define this. And as you can see at the end of the link, guys, there is a OGG. So we will define the type of this audio also, and this is type. And let's see, what was that? I think it was music, audio, OGG. And I'm gonna save it, and let's see whether the audio comes in our browser or not. There you go. And if I play it, this is audio in Firefox 3.1. Cool. You have created the audio on your application, and you can use it, guys. That's the best thing about HTML. Similarly, audio, you can also load the video, guys. For video, you just have to define. So right here, what you were doing, you were using audio. For video, you have to simply use video, guys. And here you can define similarly video/mp4 if it is a mp4 video. If it is FLV video, you will define FLV video. The same thing, guys. There's nothing different with it. So audio video tag you can also use on your browser, guys. That is the very cool thing. Now I will be teaching you how you can add YouTube videos on your website, guys. That is one of the cool thing which you can do. So let's also see through example that how you could add YouTube videos on your channel. So let's go to the YouTube first. Let me scroll to the YouTube. So I'm on the YouTube, guys. So this is one of my gaming channel. If you are interested in gaming or something, you can also join here. You can also subscribe through here. We can also play some games here, but right now I want to add this video on my channel, so on my HTML. So how I will add this video, guys? So for that you need to go to that video. I will be muting this right now. And once you are on the home page of that video, all you have to do is you have to go on the share button here and click on share button. Clicking on share button, you will get different list here. I want you to go onto the embedded button, guys, and here you will see some HTML code, guys. This is a iframe code, and what you have to do is you have to simply copy this. copy this. Once you copied this, you close this, no need of this. You come to your HTML code, and I will be removing this. You just simply paste it here, save it, and you refresh the page, and there you are. You have added the YouTube video on your web page, guys, and it will work. As you can see, it is working. Isn't it cool, guys? So that's how you can add the HTML videos on your website too, guys. So that's how you will add it. And that's it, guys. That's it with today's session. So today's session, you have learned quite a lot, guys. You have learned the basic how web works, how there is a thing for HTML, what are the different tags for HTML, what is a client server model, how you can interact with them, and how you can use the different tags. There is a lot more to learn, guys, but I believe that today there is more learning for you. So I believe so what you have to do is, whatever you have read today, you just simply go through it, you create your own application. And what I wanted to do is create something good with your knowledge, with your information. Tag us in our social media. You can especially tag us in our Instagram, that is that tag, guys, and there we will go through your projects and all, and we will tag them in our social media, guys. So make sure you create something awesome, something which is exciting for us, and we will definitely share your content, guys. The topics will be for the next session on the Wednesday. That will be div tag, guys. So what is a div tag, guys? So like if you see this, there is a different section. There is this section, there is this section, there is this section, and in HTML you definitely want to create this section, and I will be teaching you this on the div tag. And we'll definitely run also you need to learn how to create forms, so you can take the input of the user. We'll be also learning that on the next session. And definitely it's time for the CSS. We will be applying some cool styling to our project, guys. So that's it for the next session. You make sure that you join us in our social media platforms to stay get updated. And if you have any doubts, you can comment on the video of this comment on this video, or you can share your doubt in our social platforms. Me and my team will definitely interact with you and solve your problems. And if you also want the notes, guys, you make sure you join us in our social media platforms. And last but not the least, guys, please like, share, and subscribe this video. It will help me a lot. And thank you, guys. You've been a great audience today. Thank you. Peace. Let's meet on Wednesday. Bye bye, guys.